Welcome to Patent Pending. I'm your host, Gabriel Monkow. Today, I am joined at the top right by Vanessa Wildman, owner of Sushi Roll Art. She drew a skeleton thing that one time, and I've been told to not bring up eggs in her presence.
Absolutely do not.
Bottom left, we've got Derek Blandford, retired video game design artist, aspiring edgelord, and has requested to be known as Goblin. And finally, at the bottom right, we have Maura Plisky, Congressional Art Competition finalist, Founders Award winner, but her true fame comes from having gotten to sit next to me in math class last year.
And TikTok fame.
No way. Okay, that's like, we could do an episode on that alone, but that's for a different
You get me and Natalia Hauser.
Yo, Nazi style? That's actually kind of...
That would be amazing.
And whoever choreographed the drama performance with like the Pikachu and everything, that went famous as well. Zeitz. We can get Zeitz on there.
Yeah, Zeitz and Chung.
Anyway, so how are you guys doing today?
Decent.
Very well.
Great.
I won my pod racing competition yesterday, so that's good.
You won your what?
Pod racing.
Pod?
Racing.
Yes.
As in bean pod or jewel pod?
As in Star Wars.
What?
Interesting how that works. Anyway, so
I see where your brain is.
yeah, so we can just jump right into it then. So I just wanted to kind of talk about you guys' experience with art first. Like, how do you guys consider yourselves as artists? Do you think that you have a certain style or signature technique? Do you think that what makes you special? What makes you you?
Let's let the two actual artists go first.
I don't know what this means.
I think that we all like have our own separate kind of like platforms and ways that we do our art, I guess. Like we all try to like reach people in like different ways. So I would say like we're all super talented, but what we all do is very different.
Yeah, we all definitely have like way different subject matter. Like my more serious art is like very inspired by family and like memories attached to photos and like stories behind things. But while I'm like on that side, I also understand like Vanna's side of like the creepy stuff, and then Derek's side of like the shit anime like weeb stuff.
Is that a compliment?
I don't think I've drawn anime once in this class.
I know.
I think it's just like
I
we
don't know
all
how
like
to describe your art.
no, it's just that like we all want to do I think different things
Mhm.
with our talents. Like we're all talented, we just want to do different stuff.
I make funny, stupid, haha things to look at, and that's kind of it.
I mean, I painted Soup Time though, and you bought it.
It's true. Got it framed too.
I do have 4
what I
crustacean
need.
paintings hung up in the art room still.
That's
but
true,
I can't get
she
them
does.
because of coronavirus.
Yep.
So that's pretty interesting then. So yeah, you guys definitely have some different styles, but do you think, is there like, for example, one piece that people know you for, or like a certain thing that people really associate with you?
Drew a middle finger that one time.
Oh,
Didn't it have some hair on
fuzzy
it?
one?
Well, it was rope, but it was hair.
Oh.
Ah,
Yay.
soup time. Lovely.
It's beautiful.
How did that end up with him?
$140. I made $140 off that painting.
I bought it in math class.
I know.
You know what's coming back to me, actually. I do remember this.
Then I made you go shopping with me to buy a frame.
Yeah. No, that's definitely interesting. I associate more with soup time, but is there something else that you guys have as your signature thing? I mean, Derek and goblins, but that's not very descriptive, I suppose.
I associate Derek with his purple rock. He
Yeah.
painted a rock purple, and isn't it called Purple Drink?
Yep.
It's called Purple.
Because we had to name the color.
So you
So I
named the
named
purple
it
color
Purple
purple.
Drank.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It
think
was
oh, it's
incredible.
right here.
Do you just have stuff just like lying around everywhere?
Wait, hold it up more. There it is.
What a beauty.
You can't see the
Drank.
purple, but
Wow.
and I still have it in the box.
No,
I keep it right next to my trash can.
That's awesome.
I would say I'm associated with my one plague doctor drawing, like the
Oh, yeah.
plague doctor. Like everyone just associates me with like the bubonic plague now.
I don't know. I feel like I associate you more with the things that you've done in that closet. The horrible.
I feel like we need some context, or that's going to
For
get taken the
context.
wrong way.
Yeah.
No,
for
I think it's
context,
better without context.
Okay, Derek.
That's-
In
Honestly.
conclusion, it's just a shrine to a bunch of cursed images that I've collected over time and defaced. And
Yeah.
they're all displayed in the closet. For
Don't forget
example-
all the tiny plastic babies.
Oh,
There's
there's
my-
the jar, baby jar.
Yep, the jar of
Yeah.
babies.
Piss baby.
Well, you guys
jar.
talk. I'm gonna go try to find that piece that Maya did of me with the transfer of my 5th grade yearbook.
I love that piece. I'm probably most known for that drawing of my grandparents on like black paper because I won like a national award for it, and like people just really liked it and were drawn to it. I still love that piece, but I don't know if I have it, but you know.
That's awesome.
Man, imagine having your art pieces.
What about
Yeah,
you,
my
Derek?
art pieces.
I mean, like, you've got the rocket stuff, but that's
Um,
what they seem to associate you with. What do you associate yourself with?
I don't know. I can't really consider what I do to be like, I don't know, good art, because it's not. You're not gonna look at it and be like, "Oh my god, that's epic." I just do funny, like, I don't know, cartoon, funny ha-has.
Well, that's art, nonetheless.
Because
Yeah.
I grew up watching cartoons. Wake up
Cartoon
6
funny
a.m. on a
ha-has,
Saturday, and
Of course.
just observe.
No,
Like,
that-
this is probably my favorite thing that I've done so far. It's literally just a monkey with a sword.
I like
that's
him.
top notch. No, and
like
that does kind of lead into the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which was like, you have this sort of style, you have these pieces that you make, but was there a defined inspiration from it? Was it something that sort of got you started in all this, or was it just something
Adventure
that kind of
Time.
happened?
Good answer, Derek.
Adventure Time. That's literally the answer.
Yeah.
That's actually cool. I vibe with that.
For sure.
I would say for me, it's just more like. Actually, I can't even begin to describe. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I have no idea what happened where, but at some point, I just went way off the track.
That's quite
Yeah.
funny.
That can. Yeah. Okay. That's understandable.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of already described mine. It's like all memories and like pictures and stuff. But like my more casual and fun art is like based on things that like come up in my head, and I just like do it, and that's like the stuff that I get the most enjoyment out of. It's also my weirdest stuff because
Or random paint
Noggin.
splotches that you turn into human faces.
A lot of your stuff, I'd say, is like kind of drag inspired too. It's cool.
I'm really inspired by drag and the whole community, I guess.
Certainly a unique style. But that's something that's interesting as well, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, and this is at least how I think an outside perspective of this kind of art might be, but I feel like a lot of people look at the stuff you guys make and think that you've been, like, you might have gotten better over time, but
Damaged.
your inspirations may have, well, that's a different conversation. But like the mentality has been the same, the inspiration has been the same. Is that really how it goes, or do you think that you've changed how you view your art pieces a lot over time?
I've changed a lot.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
as well.
In what ways?
Well, okay. Originally, last year when I started like my exploration of my family and stuff, it was all based on just my grandpa because like he was the first person that I was like really close to who had passed away, and like creating art had really helped me get over that. But once I started to explore it more and hear everybody's like personal stories and like really fond memories attached to it, or attached to pictures and stuff like that, I just really started to expand my vision of what family can mean.
I was initially like working a lot in only black and white and like pen and stuff like that. Like I was very inspired, I would say, by like mixing design and like real art. Like I liked having stuff very like plain and simple, but like well put together. And I guess like over time I've come to like enjoy color more. So like now I'm like using color and stuff, but like I realized I can still make stuff like edgy, but use color in it. So
Edgy colors.
yeah.
I would say my perception of my art hasn't changed at all. Because even, in like second grade when I just draw terrible I don't know, anything really. It was second grade. I don't know, just draw to make fun things, and that hasn't really changed.
Definitely worth some snaps there. No, that's super interesting as well. I think that's an interesting point to take as well. Is if you've had some sort of consistency there, do you think that most of your art tells a story, or does it sort of have like a it's sideways now, lovely. Does it have like a coherent narrative to it, or can you see some sort of progression in like how you did things? And it can either be in terms of what you wanted to portray with them, or how do you see your style having changed, like Vanna mentioned with her color usage. Do you think that there's some sort of continuous idea there throughout everything you guys have done? It could be just edge as well.
Yeah, I would say for me, like mine has always just been on like the weirder side. Like I'm very like I like doing like realistic stuff in a way, but I've never been drawn to just like doing a still life of something. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just for me, I'm drawn to weird things and like weird dripping skulls and like psychedelic stuff. So like that's always been there for me. I like skulls. I like really good stuff.
I know you like skulls. That's why I sent you that picture yesterday.
I've got 1, 2 over there, and there's 2 more over there.
Yeah, Gabe, for context, while I was mowing yesterday, I found skulls in the yard.
Why didn't you take the skulls themselves and give them to Vanna?
Because, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I have to clean them first. They're still dirty. They were sitting in mud and grossness.
It was this kind of skull. It was this kind.
That kind.
She's got documented skulls. Nice. Nice. Yeah, okay, I can see the thing there.
And then recently my stuff has been like a lot more experimental. Like I've been doing a lot of experimental stuff with like different mediums and trying out different things to paint on, and like I've been doing a lot of sewing and like just I don't know, just a lot of different things, because I've always been an artist who can't stick to one medium. Like sophomore year, I was in AP sculpture, and all my pieces were like really based around emotion and stuff. And that led me on to the next of going on to, why is my voice like this? Going on to exploring emotion further with my family. And now I'm just pushed on further beyond that and just like doing shit. And I like it. It's fun. Yeah, just trying to do more relaxed and fun stuff now. Yes.
Chill vibes.
Chill vibes.
Okay, what was the question again?
It's just like do you feel like you have like a continuous like message or like narrative or progression in how you've done your art?
In terms of progression, for me, it was a lot of when I was younger, learning how to transition from making shitty, terrible anime OCs into making cartoons. Because
I see those.
if I could find one of my old books, I could probably show you them, but they most likely don't exist anymore.
I still have all of my old art.
Yeah, me too. I have drawings from Maura and I in 4th grade together when we were drawing like these really like crappy looking like chibi people. And like, and people were like, "Wow, you guys are really good," and our drawings were literally disgusting. Like it was actually like makes me want to projectile vomit looking.
Yep.
At it.
Yeah, that was basically all of my lower school, was drawing terrible chibi characters and being like, "This is what I want to do." And then growing up, I was like, "No, this is absolutely terrible. Let's just draw cartoons instead."
Not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's just draw cartoons instead, because it's a lot easier and it's a lot more fun.
That is interesting. The stuff about application of where you want your art to like sort of end up. Do you guys feel like there are like do you guys think a lot about mediums? Like not just how you draw or paint or whatever, or how you create, but to what end? Like where you want it to be applied? Do you want it to be I don't know, for sale, or is there something more to it, like some sort of bigger project? What do you guys kind of want to do in those areas? Do you know?
I definitely want to eventually make a comic of some sort, whether it's a web comic or something that's like legitimately published. I don't know. I just feel like it's writing and drawing something that's low quality enough to the point to where you can balance both, but quality enough to be enjoyable. I think it'd just be something really fun to do.
That really describes you very
Yeah,
well.
you should look at Webtoon, like that app.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Okay, I was like saying like that's like exactly where your stuff like would be received well. Like now you got time, do it, full send, do it.
Well,
Yep, now I have to learn how to write.
Or you can
Yeah.
work
I
with
mean,
other
speak
people,
the
God
English
forbid.
language.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, I'm obviously going to school for art, like, and I'm trying to like get my master's in teaching with a fifth year. Like, it has like the school that I'm going to next year has a program where you can like minor in art education and then do a fifth year to get your master's, and then you can just go teach. So that's my plan right now. But if I'm actually like doing really well in college, then I'll probably like still get the teaching degree, but I might just go on to be like a creative director somewhere. That's like my dream job.
So you can teach, but you won't.
We'll see. I don't know. I get free tuition. It's fine.
She said sugar daddy.
Thanks, you arts.
You are's the sugar daddy. For me, what I guess like what makes me kind of different is I'm not going to art school like as much as it's something I'd want to do. I'm going for biochem because it's #big nerd hours and I want to go to med school. But I've always kept art as like a side thing for me, more as like a business. Like I would say I'm very involved with like the South Florida art scene. I know a lot of people down here. Like
Yeah,
I
you
get
do.
involved with that. And then and now I'm moving up to Atlanta, obviously for like #college if we go there. But I'm going to try to like get involved with the Atlanta art community and see how I can get integrated into that. So I just kind of always want to keep it as like a side, like I love art, but I want to keep it as like a side hobby business thing.
That's definitely interesting. I think there definitely are a lot more applications than people seem to realize. You can do it full time, but people think that if you don't do it full time, you can't just have it as a hobby either, which doesn't seem to be the case at all. But
Yeah.
I agree.
yeah, my experience with art has been limited as a failed artist at best. That is a compliment. But I will say back in the day, Mr. Derek Blanford over here and myself, we did work on some video game design stuff together. He was the artist and I implemented some things. But that's the
It's
kind
really
of thing.
cool, actually.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where I feel like most people don't think of those opportunities. Like people look at art and they think of drawing, they think of painting, they might think of sculptures, but they don't think of too much 3D stuff. They don't think of too much digital stuff. I mean, graphic design, like what you
Everything
mentioned,
is art.
huge. Yeah, so is there some sort
Yeah.
of like out of the box kind of stuff like that you guys want to do or would love to do given the opportunity?
Actually, yeah, I used to a bit ago, like half a year ago, I was dabbling a bit in the waters of using Blender, you know, like the animation
Yes.
software.
Oh,
So I know you guys
boy.
use that a lot for a video game. So
Mhm.
I was using that a little
Oh,
bit,
yes.
like doing like animation kind of stuff. But then I realized like I'm not like tech savvy enough to do it, but I want to try to do that again because I think it's pretty sick.
It is definitely very sick. 3D, just 3D, anything in it, general, whether it's modeling or animating, but it's a lot more. I don't want to say time consuming. It's not the
It's
right
hard.
word.
You have to learn a whole new
Yeah,
platform.
and I in that 1 year where I disappeared off the face of the planet like the Avatar, I went to art school to learn 3D animation and 3D modeling, and it's definitely difficult, but I feel like it has a lot more corners that you can cut and the product still come out good than, let's say, I don't know, drawing with a pencil. Like it's a lot
that's totally
easier.
fair.
It's a lot easier to cut corners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, in my
It's just
experience,
that
at
there's
least feel
so many
like
corners.
I feel like 3D stuff, like digital 3D stuff, is held to a high regard just by the fact that it is 3D. Like, do you guys feel like you get that impression? Like, people think that they look at something 3D and they think that it takes inherently more work than other mediums.
I think it just depends on what the actual piece is. Like if it's
I agree.
3D animation, I personally think that 2D animation is cooler. Like I like the style of it more, but it's all like personal preference. Like that's all what art is. It's all personal preference. It's all personal perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have only really done digital stuff, so that's more my domain. But I also feel like a lot of what you guys have talked about is more individual projects that you guys have done. Have you guys done a lot of stuff in groups or something a bit bigger where you made like a small part of something bigger, or would you want to?
We
I
were supposed
painted
to.
the edges white of a painting.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I painted the painting with Mrs. Liguori.
Yeah,
But-
she and Ligori did the actual work. I,
Yeah.
however,
I
just
did most
made
of the
the
work.
edges of the canvas not look like they were dirty.
But we were actually supposed to paint a mural at school, but because of Corona, we can't do it now. And like they're building a new building, which sucks because we're probably never gonna be able to step back into that closet.
No, we
Yeah.
will on June whatever when we go back. I
Second?
need to get my crab paintings.
Yes.
But the thing is, we're not allowed out of our
Break-in.
cars, I don't think.
Well,
Oh,
I need
yeah.
to get my crab paintings. No, I think we are because a lot of people, like unrelated, off topic, a lot of people's violins are still in the orchestra room, and they said that we can
Right.
come in to get them, which means I
Fair
can say
enough.
I forgot my violin and go and steal everything out of the art room that we can possibly need.
Bring like
if
Including
a
they
going
closet.
haven't
back to
already
the
started
closet.
demolishing the
I'll
building.
steal Ligori. In there.
Yeah, this car's
Honestly,
on
the
my
most
SUVs for
thing-
my violin. Don't mind me.
Honestly, the most like disappointing thing that's happened from Corona is that I won't be able to go and play pool with Ligori at the end of the year.
Or are we gonna play
We'll
pool?
still get to fight at Murakami though.
Yeah, that's true. We were gonna have a big
Yeah.
anime fight at Murakami.
That is so funny.
Yeah, Derek, Ligori, and I.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Mainly Derek and Ligori. I don't really want to fight them.
I'd like to watch that.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, for sure, spectator tickets. No, but that's super cool. I feel like we're almost getting into the other thing that I wanted to talk about as well, which is more like the programs that you guys have been involved in, like either the programs at school or elsewhere. Like, how do you guys feel like those? Do you think those are run well? Do you think that what are the pros and cons of those? Where do you think they can improve? And how do you think that they've really, I guess, changed how you do things?
Pinecrest? Oh boy. At Pinecrest,
Mm,
I have so many improvements. I mean,
mm.
First things first, art club doesn't exist. It never
Yeah.
has. It's always
Not-
put on the
it
club
should.
list. It does not actually happen.
It's not a real thing.
It's not a thing.
I've never seen them. I've never seen them at a set up a table. Nothing. It's simply a like. I'm all for like like behind the scenes stuff. It's not there. I'll tell you that it's not there.
That's quite
Does
funny.
not
do you have
exist.
a hammer?
Yeah.
Right now? Okay.
Keep a
It's a
mallet
mallet.
under my desk. Thank you for recognizing it's a mallet.
I couldn't see the head of the mallet. I'm so sorry.
Also,
just
the
assumed
size
by
of
the
those
handle.
classrooms are literally nauseatingly small.
They're nauseatingly small, and this little room is huge.
Termites.
Because
But
it's
there's
like,
termites.
and there are termites in the building. We don't. I mean, they build 2 iLabs, and then like our building is the oldest building in high school, and they have not like renovated it or tried to even like fix it.
To
Until
be fair,
now.
they're
I
doing
mean,
that now.
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's like they never even tried to do anything else about it. Like in the orchestra room, it's the old ballet room, and the biggest improvement that they did is they finally changed out the light that was flickering all day every day for 2 years and caused like probably mild
Seizures?
epileptic seizures if you were in the back. So God bless they're tearing that building down because it's
Oh yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it did really bring a lot of memories, though. It was actually like, I don't think it would have been the same if it was like this big fancy building, because it was just like a cozy room where we could just go all the time. I was there like 5 or 6 periods a day.
Yeah,
And
pretty
the
much any of
closet.
my free
Yeah.
periods.
What
Would
would we
eat
do
lunch in
without the
there.
closet?
What would we do without the closet?
Which
I mean, we
closet?
lived without the closet for literally
Because-
the whole entire year. Even they didn't even do anything in the closet. We had to move out all of the materials that were in the closet because they were fixing something. Never fixed it.
Still a demon
It's
closet.
the loudest closet I've ever been in.
As soon as you open the door, it literally screams at you.
And it's because the AC unit, as soon as you open the door, there's an AC unit on top, and it's not covered. So the belts, you can see the belts running, and like if you put your hand up there, you'd lose a finger, and it's like probably just above head level.
That's
Really-
interesting. Though. And
There's definitely like lost souls in that closet.
Oh yeah.
God, the
There's
closet
also a
seems quite
gargoyle
haunted.
statue in Miss Little's closet, which I don't know if anybody's like
I've
paid
never
attention
seen
to.
That's
I've seen
Yeah,
it.
there's a gargoyle statue.
Yeah, there's some whack
A
stuff in
little
there. Not
sculpture
to
of Trump.
not to talk about Miss Knight's room upstairs. Horrible memories, by the way. That's a very large improvement in the program. Ninth grade art is just not a real thing. It is ninth grade
I'm so
art
happy I
is
never took it.
it's a horrible program. I'm sorry to say it, but it really is. Anyways, there's gas masks up in that room.
That is the only art class I took was digital arts with Miss Knight in ninth grade. So maybe not the best showing
Yeah,
from what I've been told here.
I took sculpture freshman year, so I never had Miss Knight, but she
Digital arts game.
talked to me every single day.
That is interesting. I didn't realize that like the different classes or teachers varied. Like they vary in content, but I didn't realize that it varied in like experience apart from that so much.
Oh, good Lord Jesus.
Very
Drawing and
much
painting in
so.
ninth grade, I'm sorry, I've never learned that less in a year. I had to paint doors. I literally had to, like, not like paint doors, like put paint of doors. And I'm like, is this making me a better artist? Because I don't think it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what would you say
I mean,
your
still
favorite
lives
class
are
is?
beneficial. Oh.
Lagori.
Lagori.
And like, what does that entail? Because I keep hearing about Lagori, but I have no clue what this means.
Oh,
It
Miss
is the most
Lagori,
unregulated class.
most unregulated class with the most unregulated teacher. I had him last year for post AP art.
Post AP
AP art.
friendship.
AP art history and AP like drawing and painting. Those were my favorite two classes because like of how like relaxed he was and like sometimes, but he still like really really helps you improve with literally barely saying anything to you. He just gets his point across, which is so much better than like
The only
having a
bad thing
teacher-
about that is that if you don't immediately get it, he doesn't give you any more help.
Yeah.
He just says
Yeah,
the same
I-
thing again.
Yeah, he kind of like expects you. Like I've had him for 3 years now, and like he kind of I see like why some people have problems is that he like kind of expects you to already know what to do when he corrects you. So like if you're not like that advanced in like the physical arts, then like you're just gonna be kind of like, "Que estas? Yeah, no, I don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah, like I have a very small brain. So like
So
even
just
when
don't play.
even when it would be like a simple correction in like Photoshop or something, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
So what would you recommend then? What kind of track for people would you recommend? Or do you think that it really varies on what they want to do, on what they like to do, what they want to do in the future maybe?
It kind of varies on what they
All
want
your
to do in the
dreams.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the track that I went on. I went like freshman year, I did sculpture, and then sophomore year, I did like the AP sculpture, which is like not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do like sculpture and ceramics 1, sculpture and ceramics 2, and then AP. But Miss Little wanted me to do that. But I had AP sculpture and drawing and painting 2 with Miss Lagori at the same time, like in the same year, my sophomore year. And then junior year, I took only AP drawing, and then senior year, I took post AP, and that was the best decision, honestly.
Like it's all depends on like whether you're more of like, I mean, it's a pretty easy track if you just know you're more into sculpture, if you're more into drawing and painting. Like if you're more into drawing and painting, then you go down that route. If you want to do sculpture, you go down that route. Like obviously people do both, but like that's if you can fit in your schedules, and it's a spicy combination.
Yeah, it actually like sculpture really helps with drawing and painting. So if you're into that type of stuff, like and you know you would like to do both, I mean, might as well take at least the first level. It's fun. Yeah. Don't take drawing and painting one if you can avoid it.
I agree with that. That's what I was saying about freshman year. Don't take drawing and painting one. Do not, unless you want to paint doors for a living. Don't do it.
Well done. Yeah, that I was gonna get into as well. Was like whether there was a specific teacher or project that sort of really invigorated you to keep doing this or fueled your passion. Apparently,
Ligori.
Mr. Ligori seems to be a name that keeps
Ligori.
coming up. But was there a specific, maybe not a specific class, but was there a project or a specific piece you did, and like based on the reaction or what you learned or something like that, that really changed things or made you want to keep doing it?
For me, it was for sure. I don't know if it was during. I don't know if you guys remember if it was during AP. I think it was during AP when we had to do a stippling piece, and that was the first time I'd ever done stippling, like literally ever, which is when you just do all the dots with the pen. And that's when I did the Plague Doctor, and it came out like ridiculously well for the first stippling piece I ever did. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm like actually good at this. So like that's like one technique that like I continually like try to progress on and get better at. So that was pretty sick.
Cool.
Yeah. In my sophomore year sculpture class, I did this piece, like it was called Scream, and it was this like
That was so cool.
half bust. Yeah. It was like from the mouth down, and it was like a person monster thing screaming. It's a cool piece. I still like it. And I got the best feedback on that piece, and that made me want to keep going with that sort of theme of like showing emotion just through mouths. And that's what I did for the rest of the year. And Mr. Ligori, that was the first time I talked to Mr. Ligori, actually. No, maybe. No, I was in his class that year. But like that was the first time he actually like really liked one of my pieces. So that really made me feel like validated and sort of cool, I guess.
For me, it wasn't a particular art piece or project. It was just like I switched into art, I think 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Because I switched, like I took psych at the beginning of the year, and I was like, yeah, I want to take psych, and then it just a terrible class.
I loved psych. Okay.
I despised it with a passion.
I had a good time.
Anyway.
It's like
I loved Miss Everett. Don't get me wrong, but I could not.
She orders prints from me like once. She just ordered my eyeball one.
Nice. It was actually like sitting down in that class 2 weeks in. There was like 2 projects I'd already missed, but talking with Ligori, it was very, very easy to just become friends, and it was very easy to mesh with him very quickly. And I was like, okay, no matter what happens, this is just going to be a good experience. And then my first impression was I made a ice cream cone melting, and it was smoking, and he absolutely loved
I
it.
remember that one.
That was the first piece I made. That was my first impression that he got from me, and he was like, nice.
Yeah.
And then everything else I made was garbage.
give yourself some credit.
But it
Not
was
even
fun.
kidding.
Hey, if it was fun,
the
that's all
whole
that matters,
environment
right?
of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
environment of that classroom really just changes you as a person. Like you just become sort of more of a bastard, and like I don't know. It's hard to describe. You just have to be there to understand.
You have to experience Ligori in order to understand Ligori.
And what classes does he teach?
Right now, he's only teaching juniors and seniors. I'm pretty sure.
So I think AP, and I don't
AP
know if
and
he's
post
even.
AP.
AP and post. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not teaching regs anymore. Yeah.
Is there one of those that's better? Either the AP or the post AP?
I mean, you got to do AP to get to post AP. So
I guess that's
Yeah.
fair. But it's definitely
Post
worth going
AP
to
is
post AP
fun,
then
though.
if you've come that far.
Oh yeah.
A
mean,
legendary
it's so
post
fun.
AP friendship class.
I mean, it sucks we got cut off halfway through the year, obviously, because like we had like
Yeah.
fun stuff happening. But
Yeah. We had a
I
really.
mean, I like post. I mean, I
Yeah.
like both. Like, but
Yeah, You did mention that there
I
were
know
some other
the-
things planned. Like, are there like what were like the big things that you feel like either you most enjoyed throughout that class, or that you were going to get to do that you were really excited for?
Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, we were
Got to finish on
literally
Bob
had
Ross paintings.
started Bob Ross paintings the day, and then
Would have loved to see
Yeah,
those.
Karen painting. Oh God.
For me, it would have been the mural because,
Yeah.
you know, I spent probably 3 class periods taping off that wall and it was the worst experience ever. No, I'm kidding. It was completely fine. But I don't know. I was usually the person who would sit in class and like do the piece one day before it was due. And any other day, he'd just be like, hey, here's X task that's just running around picking something up or moving something. Do it. And I was completely fine with being manual labor.
that sounds about right.
It was amazing.
I am going to pivot a tiny little bit because we've talked quite a bit about the programs, but I am interested in seeing what kind of like other art opportunities have you guys either been involved in or want to be involved in terms of like digital things or commissioned pieces or competitions that you want to be in. I know that Maura's done a few competitions. I know that Vanna has done some commissions, but are there any other sort of opportunities like that you guys have done, and what did you think about them or would want to do?
One of the most beneficial things I did was go to pre-college programs. So like I did a pre-college program at SCAD summer between my sophomore and junior year.
I still get
Um,
emails from them.
It was actually a really good experience, but then I found out that it's not a great school to go to. It has a whole history. But then this past summer, I went to Maryland Institute College of Art, and that was in my top 2 schools because I did experimental fashion there, which I did to figure out if I wanted to go into that. And I don't. I now know that. I'm not the best seamstress, but doing those like programs where I could experiment and do different things really, really showed me the careers that you could have as an artist and the different paths that everybody can take. So that was definitely really cool.
I haven't done any like programs like that. I haven't done, I haven't done any programs, and I'm kind of like averse to the whole competition scene because I've had just like people just don't like my stuff. They think I'm too like weird, so I'm kind of out of the competition scene. But I guess like stuff I do outside is I've done I think over 10 different art walks. Like I mean, I've done over 20, 30 events at this point, but I've done like over 10 different cities art walks. And my next kind of thing I was pre-quarantine, I had like a few galleries that I was supposed to be displaying in, like stuff that's like my style, like weird people stuff down in like Wynwood. But then obviously Corona said, just kidding, no, you just sit in your house. But that's like kind of my involvement outside.
And what exactly is an art walk?
Oh, so that's like, I guess you could say it's like a city's event where they, like, I'll use the Fat Village Art Walk because that's my most frequent one, where like they shut down the Arts District Street and they have a bunch of us like vendors who are doing either like traditional arts like me or people who are doing like jewelry or just even some kind of different stuff. And you all set up booths like down the street and they've got live music. And then like there's just a lot of people who come to like walk through the galleries, come by from the vendors, stuff like that. And they have one for I think almost every city. I've done it for almost every city at this point. And it's cool because you get like a different crowd for each place. Like Fat Village has like cool, like younger, like hip crowd. And then like the Hollywood one, surprisingly enough, was like all like snowbirds and they were all really, really weird and rude.
Your
Not
stuff
gonna
is
lie.
probably a bit edgy for them. Is that something you have to, out of curiosity, sign up for and like get accepted into or something, or can you just like show up and do it?
Yeah, you have to do an application for each one and like send in your stuff or whatever. Like it's curated, like they let in if most people, because like most people who apply aren't selling like fake stuff. Like they're like good artists and like good artisans. but they are selective. It's fun.
For me, competition and like, I don't know, most other, even just like selling things, it's a big no, I don't think I will moment. Because like if I wanted to, sure, I could. I wouldn't win anything, but who cares? It's just not fun to me, to be completely honest.
I feel that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just a really competitive person.
You know.
Like, I've submitted to Scholastics for the past 2 years, and I've won a good amount of like gold keys and got nominated for the American Visions Award. And just like, I don't know, submitting to competitions is fun, but it's stressful, and I put a lot of my worth on it, and I shouldn't. But I still like to win things, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I think everyone like gets their like trophies per se, like in their own way. Cause like, as we were saying earlier about like having different types of art, like you can't put like a painting of a landscape next to like a 3D animation when like one might have been so much harder to do than the other. Like, it's just all on your type of art. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just, you can't compare some things to another thing.
That's fair. Nice. That's a good hot take. I definitely like that. My experience has been very different from that in terms of those things. I do mostly TSA, which is just a mishmash of a ton of events, and a lot of them have some sort of art type thing in them. But I can definitely see how that can be different in like art specific events, which I haven't been a huge part of. Are there any like big names in the scene, like of like big competitions that are the most well known ones, or like big programs that are the most well known ones like that?
Scholastics is like the biggest one.
Yeah.
That's the important one of the year, pretty much. And then there's congressional, which is like district wide. And like the representative of our district, Ted Deutsch, decides. He's the worst. And that those are.
Would you also say Young Arts or no?
Oh, Young Arts, but that's
hard.
Yeah,
that's
but
hard competition.
Yeah, Young Arts is like top tier, like hard.
Yeah, but they also choose like really representative pieces that have that. They're more like modern art pieces. They're not really like the traditional art that a lot of us at Pinecrest do. Like 2 years ago, this guy won for building a wall in his living room out of like bricks. Yeah, I don't know.
And like, how much do they differ? You did mention that some of them have like different styles, but is it like, are they different in like how you join or like how you get chosen and stuff like that? Prize pools maybe?
Yeah. I mean, there's like school-wide, there's district-wide, county-wide. There's like a lot of competitions, and they all have like different awards to them. Like Scholastics, they have the keys regionally, and then nationally they have medals. Or like other competitions have like monetary, like you can win
cash prize.
Cash prize.
like Young Arts, if you win Young Arts, you get like a $25,000 award. But they're like really harsh. So
Yeah.
That stuff is really interesting. So I do have one question that I think is kind of a bit different, but I certainly think it's interesting as well. What do you think is really underrated in your space? Like, what is it, like certain techniques, certain programs, certain ways of doing things that you think people don't do nearly enough, but you think have a lot of worth, and that, for example, in those competitions might not get the value that they deserve? If there's an obvious answer, it's a bit of a rough question.
I think there is.
I could.
Podcast.
I'm recording.
Yeah, we're gonna timestamp that.
I could go off right now, but I'm gonna wait for everybody else.
I have to conserve my energy on this one, so I'll go first.
I think one of the most underrated things at Pinecrest is like Miss Little and her actual like 3D art class and like the sculptures that she does, and because it really gets your mind to think in a different space, and that's really important when you're doing art, because it's just you, even if you're just normally a 2D artist, working in 3D really helps your perspective. So I mean, that was the best for me. And a lot of freshmen take her class because she's very nice, and she's bad at being mean to people.
Very true.
So they're really shitheads to her, and that's one of the big reasons why I think like freshmen having to take the art credit should not be a thing.
Miss Little as a whole is the definition of underrated.
Yeah.
Like, she's a queen. She is a god.
She's always so helpful and like never complains about anything, and never goes to the office for kids. But the kids this past year were shit. They were so
Throwing clay into the ceiling.
Oh my god. Moore partook in that. That was my English. She partaked. She took part in the throwing of the clay, but it was fun. It was
Yes, but the thing is, I got most of that down. The other kids threw up a lot more.
Dude, that was a trend this whole year, like kind of off topic, but like that was literally just a trend in general. People throwing the squishies onto the ceiling of the library. We had like 20 pencils stuck in the ceiling of the orchestra room, and then all the clay stuck on the ceiling of Miss Little's room. And then Moore and I would just shove shit like in the ceiling of Ligoria's room. So
Because you could literally stand on the table and have to like bend your head in order to have enough space.
There's a bunch of babies in the art room.
Yeah, so that was a trend this year in the arts. No, not even the arts, just in general, putting stuff in ceilings.
Just putting stuff in places.
Yeah.
I am curious though, Vanna. You did say you have to conserve your energy on this one. Can you let out just a small percentage so we can get your view on this stuff?
Wait, repeat the question one more time so I can decide where to go with this.
It was about things that you think are underrated, either styles that you think are underrated, or programs or people, or things that you think don't get as much credit as they deserve.
Yeah, so within the school, as I said, Miss Little as a whole, underrated. We love her. She's the best. Also underrated, like on a broader scheme, is like anything, I would say anything other than painting, I feel like it's underrated. Like, we're all like really good at stuff other than painting. Like, all of three of us, like, we're all good at stuff other than that. But like, people are always like, that painting is the best piece out of anything you've done. And I'm like, but like, it isn't the best thing that I've done. Just because it's a painting doesn't mean that it's better.
Yeah, because they see paint and they go, ooh.
Yeah, like for like a lot of like, I guess because it's considered like the most professional medium, how people see it. But like, since I have like more experience recently with like galleries and like being curated for stuff, a lot of my things, like what people want the most from me, are my paintings or things that look like paintings, not like my pen drawings or stuff like that, even though they're just as good. And I'm kind of like, okay, it's the same style, it's just a different medium, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And also just stuff that's like not like hyper realism, I feel like is underrated. I'm sure Derek can feel that one.
Yeah. Right. Well, Derek's stuff is a bit more interesting, I think.
So for me, the thing I think is underrated, I'm about to go on a rant, and it's a weeb rant, so you better get ready.
Here we go. I'm ready to timestamp
We're ready.
As of, I would probably say 2017 on, CGI and just 3D elements in general in anime or animation has been just completely and utterly like garbaged on. So, for example, whenever a show comes out, people are like, oh yeah, this looks nice. And then there's a scene with like, I don't know, let's say it's two armies. You can't obviously go in and hand draw every single person in that army. So you have to use CGI to implement that. And granted, trying to put a CGI element into a 2D setting is not easy. Because lighting, Gabe, I'm sure you can attest to this, lighting is absolutely atrocious.
It's hard to do on its own, mate. I couldn't imagine doing it like two mediums together. Like, that's difficult.
Yeah, so having to match up not only art style, but having to match up lighting, perspective. Of course, lip flaps are like even.
I hate that word. I hate that word. That
Sorry.
like triggers me. It triggers.
Eggs.
That like triggers me on the same level of like egg yolks.
Eggs.
Eggs.
No, and like that stuff is all hard to do, and then when put into a 2D setting, it looks off place. That's more understandable than the people that just go out and hate in general on shows that are entirely 3D animation or entirely CGI. Because it's not meant to be viewed in the same way that a 2D animation is. Of course, liberties are going to have to be taken, corners are going to have to be cut.
Cut those corners.
Yeah, you can't do
Cut the camera.
like you can't have the same epic style of like hyper action Sakuga kind of animation with a 3D model. You just can't, unless your Arc System works, because the games they make are absolutely brutal, and I wonder if their animators even sleep. For example, if you look up the most recent Guilty Gear game, it's made by Arc System Works. It's all 3D animated, I'll tell you that. It looks like it's a 2D, like, painting fluid in motion.
Yeah, toon shaders.
Yeah, exactly. But with things like there's a show that came out on Netflix called Kengan Ashura. The entire thing is 3D animated. And obviously the people that read the original work are like, what is this garbage? Because that's just the perception of 3D animation is, oh, all of it's bad, all of it's terrible CGI. Give me my billion-dollar animation projects now.
What's the name of the show called? I'm looking it up.
Kengan Ashura.
Easiest
See-
spelling in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's all 3D.
I see what you're talking about.
Right, it's all 3D models.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at it from a 3D animator's perspective, the show is absolutely great. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of, oh my god, I want my anime and I want it now, people are going to be like, what is this? How dare you? This is a sacrilege. Burn it.
That is an
It's
interesting
different
point.
looking for sure. It's like it's very
Yeah,
different. looking.
It's different looking, and people look at that and they go, no.
So do you think
I
that
think
that's
different-
like... Do you think that's mostly because the style itself might be unique, or more because people were expecting something and they got something else? Like, how much do you think like that public perception plays into that, even in what you guys do?
That's really interesting. I agree with that. Like, I feel like what you're saying, Derek. Like, I've seen enough like cartoon style shows where like I know what you're talking about when they like put in like some kind of special effect or like CGI like scene in it, and you're
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's like it looks kind of weird, but like it's cool. And then it's like I feel like I agree that it's like totally underappreciated. Like that must take so much work. I never
Oh
really
my
thought
God.
about that until you said that. Like it must be so hard, honestly.
To give another example, one that I'm pretty sure we can all relate to, Power Rangers.
Never seen Power
All of
Rangers.
the old Power Rangers were people in suits, right?
Yeah.
Like even the big giant monster fight scenes, it was a person in a suit. And more, yeah, no, I'm not kidding. It was people in rubber suits punching each other. It was great.
That's really
I love
funny.
it. But in a lot of like recent installments, they change a lot of that to be CGI. And it looks really weird.
Mm.
And to kind of bring it back to what Gabe said, because people are expecting one thing and they're getting another thing, it's a bit like the perception of, oh no, this is different, definitely affects how people coming in who would be unaffected by it and unfazed by it, that perception is then shifted because of the people that say, oh my gosh, no, this is different. That's my weep rant. Goodbye.
No, that
Chef's
was
kiss to
no
that
time
one.
stamping necessary. That was thoroughly appreciated.
I get that though, because like I don't know, it's weird because a lot of people enjoy my more like casual like sketchbook stuff, but a lot of other people like expect the realistic like from a picture type stuff that I've won awards and stuff for. But I mean, I can do whatever I need.
Do
to.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want, bitch.
And do you feel
I guess in that vein, I've been kind of blessed because I never started out doing something realistic. I've always had the goofy cartoon style,
right.
so people don't expect anything from me, which is great.
I mean,
I suppose that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
My expectations are on the fucking floor.
Yeah.
But do you guys feel like that perception might be going in a different direction? Like we've seen a lot of changes, most of which I have not seen firsthand, but have studied in history books, of like how people went from one style to another. But do you think that there's something new on the horizon, or something that you don't think has really been thoroughly done yet that might become big?
yes. Our generation is whack. Like if like our generation is so creative and stuff like that, like just on social media, like seeing stuff other people our age create, it's crazy. Like everyone our age, it has so different styles and stuff. Like give us 10 years and we're gonna be out here like making those textbook articles. Like
Yeah.
God, I can't wait to read a textbook article that at Sushi Roll Art.
Honestly, though,
At Mora
if I get asked
Plisky.
one more time, do you make art out of sushi? No.
I had a great time reading the FAQ on your website, the frequently asked questions. That was good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh my god. But I think the direction that the art scene is going in is a lot more creativity and a lot less of the more realism stuff. Like, because even recently, a lot of artists that are shown in galleries and stuff are more modern artists that like are not, well, they might be technically skilled, but they choose
Experimental.
to be experimental. Yeah. And I think the next trend is going to be like trying to stand out from the pack, because that's always what art has been, is always trying to get that step ahead of someone else. That's why some people like don't understand modern art. You know, have you ever heard that? Like, I don't understand modern art. Like, what's the point? They're the first person that thought of it. Like, you would never see like a Rothko and know that and think that it's not a Rothko, or a Mondrian and think that it's not a Mondrian, or Picasso. Like, you know, they're recognizable and they were the first people to do it. So that's what art is all about.
I definitely
Yeah.
feel and hope that as our generation just becomes more populated in the art scene, that people will just become more tolerant and essentially like push all the old heads away. So, you know, when you go into an art showcase, it's literally not just all paintings hanging on a wall.
Yeah. I also think that our generation is going to lean a lot more towards selling their own art and not really showing in galleries, because it's the old ways, I guess. And we're a really revolutionary generation.
How many times do we have to teach you this, old man?
Okay, boomer. Like, it's so hard to like walk into like, or to even like think about galleries and like think about professional art. And like when you think about professional art, you tend to think about one specific style and like one specific style of people, and that's just because that's what, you know, it is now, like as she was saying. But I agree, like it's going to be pretty cool to see how stuff gets pushed more towards like the avant-garde and experimental art, which is my whole beat and brand. So yeah, I think the future is positive, and I'm looking forward to people not thinking I'm a weird quack. So
That's super cool. Well, I do have one last thing which I did want to ask, and it is, Do you guys have any shout outs? Like somebody that you've worked with, somebody that you've seen their work online, or somebody that you think is going to be more relevant than they are right now, or something like that? Something that you think needs to be said that isn't said enough.
Allegory Art at Allegory Art on Instagram.
Trying to find one of my friends.
Yeah, that's Mr. Lagoria's art page. He's got cool stuff.
Man, imagine being a teacher and a professional artist.
I have so many friends that are going to school with me next year or are just like local, that are so incredibly different in their talent, I guess. Like I have this one friend who is a surrealist artist, and it's just like way
Oh, that's
different.
sick. That's wild. I love that.
Of course you say that. It has a goat head.
Yeah, wait, what's her Instagram? I want to go follow her.
It's at Milan Kaplan Art. I'll send it to you.
I'll find it. Yeah,
Send it to
continue.
me too.
Okay. And then I have another friend. Hold on. Oh, God, I don't remember.
Oh, I found her.
For me, I have a friend who I met playing video games. Online friends be like, Ivy Mist Create, or just Ivy Mist Instagram. She does a lot of, it's literally just a lot of posts from her sketchbook, but it's all really, really dope art.
Yeah. Then this is one of my friends that's going to school with me next year. She's going to be an animation major, but
Oh God,
That's
can't do
Derek
this to
Steed.
me, Mora. Can't do this to me, Mora. Come on.
Insane. So good. I literally do not understand, but every single piece that she does is just so different and just like stylized. It's, I don't know. I love art that's just
It's
colorful
different and
and-
stylized and going to get this video taken down from YouTube in about 10 seconds.
This is one of the,
Something that-
this is one of my friend's most recent pieces.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
cool.
I vibe with that.
She's extremely talented and gets a lot less sleep than I do. So
Yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to cover then. Do you guys have any last thoughts, closing comments, other shout outs?
I do have one more shout out. Fucking hold on, I gotta find it.
Live fast, die young. Bad girls do it well.
Nice.
As
Great.
whoever said that one time.
I also love photography, and a lot of the people that I'm friends with that are going to my school next year are photographers. I'm trying to find it. Okay. There's this person who does like photographs based around like male image and like the masculinity and stuff and breaking
That's
the
cool.
norm.
Masculinity, what's that?
Exactly. But they're from like Fort Lauderdale, which is cool. Just like, when did you?
Put pants on?
It's good
Yeah.
to know that he has pants on. I'm not going to lie. Those were my thoughts exactly.
Yeah, that was
A surprise. But
that
a
was
welcome one.
surprising. Nice surprise.
They're flannel too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can see that. Good job.
Very nice.
Hold on, I'm trying to find this jacket that my friend made for me.
Oh yeah. While Derek looks for that, I will say one more thing. Do you guys have any tips or things that you want to say to anybody aspiring to get into these fields? Like what they should do, what you did, anything like that?
Do it.
Follow your
What?
do what you think. Follow your gut. Do what you think is right for you. If you don't think that going into art is right for you, then don't do it. But if you like, think about something that you can't live without, or that you wouldn't be happy. Like, I don't know. I personally wouldn't be happy doing anything besides art, like for a career. So think about that and see if it's truly the right path for you, and explore everything that you can.
And if not, then like you can always do it in other ways, like I am. Like even if you love art, you don't have to go down the path. Like you don't feel like, oh, I love art, the only thing I can do is go to art school. And like that's totally not true nowadays. Like you've got so much stuff you can do with art talent. I mean, do it for yourself either way. Like don't create my base advice is don't create art for other people, create it for yourself. I'm sure we can all agree with that.
Did you find your
My
jacket?
second shout out is Linda's Originals, or just Linda Virtino. She made this
Oh, I love
That's
that.
super cool.
this bomb ass denim
I
jacket.
love that.
It's fantastic. I love it. It's great.
That's really pretty.
And I went to art school with her, so
Look at my dog.
she's also very recently she's been doing a lot of jewelry. Like she sells rings and stuff that she makes, and that's also dope.
Are we showing pets? Here's a picture of my cat my mom just sent me.
Nice. We just doubled the view count. Well done, guys.
Oh God, hold on. I got something probably somewhere. Actually, no, I don't. I don't take pictures of my animals.
My shout out is Ellie. It's-
Oh, hi there.
That's mostly it then. Do you guys have any other closing comments? You can shameless
Thanks for
self-plug your
having
website
us.
if you want. Of course. Thank you guys for coming.
Follow it, Sushi Roll Art.
Dude.
Follow Sushi Roll Art. Ha ha ha. Unless.
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 All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. It's been a pleasure.